almost there. No way. What is this? You're tuned in to the Eyes Open podcast, where secrets aren't safe and we see it all.
Okay, so for today's episode, I didn't think we'd have to, but we have to go back into the Epstein files. And today's episode is by popular demand. I've had so many people asking me to do an episode on the cities beneath Disney, everything, surrounding the whole Disney conspiracy that's been circulating for ages. So by popular demand, I had more than a few people reach out about it. So we're going to dig into the Epstein files, and we're going to be digging into the Red files here. But there's a few announcements I want to make before that. But yeah, before we even get into any of this, I want to send a huge shout out to all of the people out there that have been supporting the sponsor, Prima. We've got nothing but great feedback from Prima. So I want to thank you to all the people that have supported our sponsor, because this goes to say I've explained this before to you guys, okay? I will only support good companies on this show. So before Prima, you go look at any of my sponsors. Any sponsors I will ever have on here are only going to be things that are actually good for you and your health. Okay, I'm not going to promote garbage. They can give me a multi-million-dollar check. I'm not going to promote it. Like, you'd never see me promoting an energy drink, for example. They could give me millions of dollars. I would not promote it. So there's certain things I won't promote, because what people need to understand is this. I take on sponsors simply to help with production a little bit, stuff that goes along with the show that, I may need for the show. But other than that, really, I absolutely never started to do this for the money. Okay. I started this over 6 years ago. I was making nothing for all those years on the show. I've been retired. I don't need the money. So for me, it's about the truth. It really is. Now, if I make money, great. But for example, the only person that's paying me right now is my sponsor. That's it. Because Facebook, okay, and I'm going to show you how the good guys win in the end, though, okay? Facebook has pulled my monetization because it says my content is too risky for their viewers. So think about that. So Facebook has pulled all monetization except for subscriptions from my page. So I get paid nothing in monetization from Facebook as of now. They've pulled it. They used to be recommending me. That's when everything exploded. But now they're labeling my content as too risky for their viewers. So they're not recommending me. They pulled my monetization. So I was of course making good money with monetization, but like I said, it's never been about the money. I will continue to show up. I will continue to make content, whether they don't pay me anything, because the real message is to get the truth out there about the world what's going on in this world right now. But not only that, but to spread the gospel. I'll spread the gospel for free. Okay. I started this show out of a passion to get the truth out there. I didn't start it for the money. Okay. I could have done, there's so many other podcasts or topics and stuff I could have done if I really wanted to play it safe and blast to the moon and make tons of money. Okay. Trust me. I've looked into all different types of avenues of content creating. I could be doing all different other avenues if it was about the money. It's absolutely not about the money. It's about getting the truth out there and promoting good products. Like I said, like Prima. Now, like I said, this is something I personally eat myself every day is Prima. I love this stuff. And I love their slogan, join the fight against fake food, because nowadays they are poisoning us so much. I mean, everything from high blood pressure to heart disease to cancer to everything is on the rise because of the garbage that they're feeding us. And we're only going to stop that by buying things that are actually good for us. Okay. And seriously, like, this is the first protein bar I've seen with no seed oils in it. That's why I really 100% love this company, because go look at any other protein bar. They all have seed oils in them and garbage, like soy lectin. There's no garbage ingredients in these protein bars. But big shout out to Prima, good sponsor that stuck by me when platforms try to take me down. They try to shadow ban my content. They remove monetization. But like I said, I'm retired. I enjoy doing this. I absolutely don't depend on Facebook or this content to make me money, contrary to what a lot of the haters want to believe. Like, oh, you just do it for the money. No, absolutely not. Okay. Even if Facebook, could pay any bill that I had, which, like I said, back during the Charlie Kirk stuff and all that, which is pretty interesting because you would have thought me destroying their narrative back then would have been more dangerous to them. But no, obviously now they found a reason that the voice is getting too big. I'm not falling within their guidelines, I guess. But please tell me why, women that are pretty much naked on here, they're all over the place. Tons of views, monetization, shooting to the top of, the algorithms, all this other real, detriment to society type material is being pushed. But I'm simply forming questions, okay? That's what people need to understand too, is the show is simply forming questions, all right? Just bringing stuff out there. People can make up their own minds. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I'm not the news media. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm simply having a discussion. It's like if you're sitting around with friends and you're just like, hey, oh yeah, man, that's real interesting about, yada, yada, yada. That's what this show's about. I wanted it to be like a discussion, okay? People just having a discussion. So that's why I never understood why people get so bent out of shape about my show sometimes, or they get so in like defense mode. It's like, look, believe what you want to believe. I'm not pushing anything on you. You have a right to believe any way you want to believe. I'm simply stating a lot of times what I believe and just putting stuff out there for people to, when does it become a crime to stop to ask questions? When did people think it was okay to stop asking questions? Okay. I thought that was the educated thing to do, but apparently not. But anyways, like I said, always shout out to our sponsors over at Prima. Get a 15% discount code. Check them out. I'm telling you, you guys will not regret it. The link is in the comments. Like I said, between them and subscriptions, that's the only way you're supporting the show, because the clicks and all that don't do nothing no more. And see, I find it, like I said, the good guys always win in the end, because the funny thing is my reach has gone up even though they're pulling me down, which is crazy, because even when I showed it to my AI, it was saying that that's insane that your reach is still going up, even though they remove monetization and recommendation. So it's showing that the truth will prevail. Okay. We are going to win in the end. So I know exactly how to play by their little game enough to where the show will eventually be blasting back up again to where we're going to get this message out to everybody. So I know how to play their little funky games. So if they want to play games, I'm game. We can play that game. But yeah, and another thing, which was brought to me by, shout out to Tommy Truthful. He'll be on the show tomorrow. Definitely got to check out that show tomorrow we're going to be doing. But yeah, it was Tommy Truthful who brought it to my attention. He said, man, I'm trying to subscribe to your page. I can't subscribe to your page. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, that's weird, because I actually just got, the last couple days I've been getting subscribers coming in, a few. And I'm like, that's weird that you can't subscribe to the page. So, and he's even saying, he's like, man, that's fraud. Like, seriously. I don't understand why, if I'm bringing attention to Facebook's platform, they're getting paid through advertisers. Why are you trying to stop me from what I'm saying? It's not like racist or controversial in that type of sense. There's nothing I'm doing that violates any of your guidelines. So apparently algorithms are picking up on what I'm saying, or I'm just going to say algos, so it doesn't pick up on what I'm saying. It's obviously picking up on what I'm saying, and because I'm not controlled opposition and they can't control my voice, they're going to try to hold me back for as long as they can. But like I said, it's not going to work, okay? The truth prevails in the end. You might hit a bumpy road, the enemy might block you a little bit, but the truth always prevails in the end. So I put my faith in God. I know he'll sort everybody out. So that's all we need to do with the battles in our life. I'm telling you, people, put it in Christ's hand. He will fight for you. That's all you have to do. You let him fight your battles, because he does. But this show today is an extra interesting one. So for the longest time, everybody's heard about the city under Disney World. Okay, that there's, you know, a bunch of different. It's a literal city under Disney World. Like there's corridors and rooms, and it's you know, levels and levels of stuff that's underneath Disney World. Well, first of all, we'll look at it this way. It's not technically underneath Disney World. Because of the way Florida is, as people know, it would sink. Okay, so they essentially built this underground city on top of Disney World. Now, mind you, this is not something that's disputed by Disney at all. Okay, they admit that they have a 2-level complex underneath there that's made for the staff to go through, so that way, because they're claiming they didn't want, you know, Frontierland man popping up over in Space World. So they wanted a way for them to travel underneath to go back and forth, so these people weren't walking around through the park. Which makes a lot of sense, right? Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, there's been some wild claims about Disney World. Not only the human trafficking that's went on there, there's been a lot of bad events that have happened at Disney World. Not just things that are unrefuted, you know, child deaths that happen on certain dates that are very suspect, to say the least, but there's been so much stuff surrounding child trafficking and Disney World. And what that is, for example, Epstein is tied in. Now that Epstein's back in the news and people are talking about Epstein a lot, Epstein is heavily tied into connections with Disney World and their cruise line. Because as the people know, the cruise line would go over by St. James Island. Now, there's been a ton of employees, okay? Quite a few. So I would say a lot. So maybe not a ton, but probably a ton that just haven't been caught yet. But there's been ones that have been charged with child trafficking, all types of child crimes, okay, that they've been found of since they worked at Disney. And I don't find that to be a coincidence. And Epstein's affiliation with Disney goes deeper than what most people realize. So there's definitely a Disney Epstein connection. So that's where it starts to unfold into something darker. Now, from what I've been told from my sources, Disney World goes way deeper than just 2 levels. Okay, it goes down a lot of levels to where they said there's levels even they couldn't go to. Now, there's an interesting theory that Disney made a movie called Frozen, because if you go look up Disney, Walt Disney, Frozen, all right, you're going to find the movie Frozen, right? So there's a theory floating around. It's pretty interesting that's why they made the movie Frozen, was because they wanted to mask within search databases and stuff that Walt Disney's frozen underneath Disney World. Like he's down in that tunnel system's down there. So I found that to be pretty interesting, because they're like, yeah, if you go to search Walt Disney Frozen, whatever, and I've done it too. I actually tried to go search it up to see if I could find anything about it. But yeah, they said he's cryogenically frozen underneath Disney World. I find that to be a pretty interesting topic about the world underneath Disney World. I mean, it just goes so deep though, because there's so much going on with Disney in general. Even from, if you guys haven't heard it's not even claims. It's, you can go right and watch the movies. I mean, look at things like Fantasia that they made. Okay, there's a lot of evil demonic stuff going on in that movie Fantasia with Mickey Mouse. And if you look at him, he's dressed as a wizard, okay, which is a male witch. All right. Now, Disney, if you even look into the way Disney is spelled, okay, or where it says Walt Disney, it's 666. If you even look at the name of how it's spelled out. And Walt Disney, like they have the 33 Club, you know, the lodge over there, it's just, you know, promoting Masonic doctrine, Masonic beliefs. So Walt Disney was absolutely a Mason. You don't get to his level and become that iconic without being in their club, period. And that's a discussion. I mean, the Masonic ties between Walt Disney, I could do a whole episode on that alone. So like I said, there's certain episodes I wish I could branch off into those topics, but I could spend forever just talking about that alone. But no, there's definitely, so for the people I wanted to know, I would say the biggest things that need to be focused on about this is there a city underneath Disney World? Absolutely. How far does it go down? They admit it goes down 2 levels. Now, there's been reports of missing kids in Disney World, kids going into bathrooms and never coming out, reports of all kinds of stuff. So if Disney really is involved in child trafficking, that would be the most perfect setup for them to get kids through those tunnel systems. And who knows where that leads to, really, when you think about it. I mean, what most people don't understand is there's cities all underneath the United States, okay? Not just bunkers for the people that we've been talking about this for the last couple of days that they're going to go into, but there's literal cities underneath there, okay? And all over that you just don't know about because you're not at a net worth enough to know about these cities. But they have them all there. They have these underground cities. There's truck drivers you can talk to that drive food and stuff into these places, because think about it, you have to get food in there through trucks, okay? You have to get them in there. I've personally spoke to people that have showed they drive trucks into places like this. So the fact that it's a known thing about these cities underneath the United States in general, I'm telling you, the way they set up Disney World, I believe from day one, it was set up for that type of situation. Because this, you guys are just hearing about this stuff now, the child trafficking, the stuff like this, it goes way deeper than what most people could even fathom about the child trafficking in this country, in the history of this country. And the real history of this country would make people not be able to sleep. All right, I've covered some of it. Everything you've been told is a lie, okay? People can believe whatever they want, but I was taught one thing in school when I got out of school and actually started researching real history, books that they hide from you, that you have to go digging for. I seen what this country and this world really is. And it's not what we've been sold at all. So the whole thing with Disney is Disney owns like everything. Okay, if you look into the ownings of they own like all the major media corporations, they own so much. And then you look at who owns Disney. Okay, just go follow it right down. That's the biggest thing to see how evil all of this gets too. Because like George Carlin had said, when you have a convergence of power, okay, you don't need a formal conspiracy. You don't have to sit there and explain it to anybody else. But when power structures are not spread out and they're showing that they're working together and converging down into big companies like that certain colored rock, okay, I'm going to watch the names I throw out here, or the V-Guard. I don't want to throw, I swear that's what they're going to do that's what they're doing now with these algorithms. AI is getting so good. They're going to hear certain words like that and they're going to just automatically pull videos down. We'll suppress them because they want to make sure that this type of info don't get out there. But yeah, when you look at when there's a convergence of power, okay, that you don't need a formal conspiracy. That's proof enough that when you really look down to it, when you follow the money far enough out, I've always said this, you follow the money in wars, you follow the money in the companies, you follow the money in everything, okay? Follow the money, all right? That's why I believe, in a sense, like in The Wizard of Oz, what they're telling you is follow the yellow brick road. They're telling you to follow the money, okay? And it leads, okay? The yellow brick road led to the Wizard of Oz, okay? That yellow brick road, follow yellow brick road, follow the money, led to the evil person, the wizard, okay? So it leads to the evil. It's I'm telling you, they put this stuff right in front of your guys' face. But I was talking about another thing with Disney. Look at, it's not just the movies like Fantasia that are openly show like him being a magician, all right? But they even tell you like the Magic Kingdom, okay? Where do you guys think magic comes from? Okay, magic comes from magic, ritualistic magic, spell casting, spell work. It comes from the occult, all right? It comes from ritualistic magic with a K, but they just put a C on it, change it up, and try to say, oh, it's different than ritual magic. Before there was that word was used, it was used in rituals, okay? So people need to understand that. You're dealing with magi, magicians, maga. Go look up what maga is in Latin, okay? It's witch. These people don't even realize what they're dealing with, that they're dealing with evil in its purest form. But like I said, you don't need to do anything but really look into what Disney owns. Disney owns so much of everything around you. It's insane. All right. And like I'd said, in order to be up at those levels, or the people that are up at those levels, they absolutely are involved in all this stuff. It's already been exposed, all the child trafficking. So we already know about all of that. But the real mystery behind Disney is to look into who really owns Disney when you go up high enough, okay? And really look into how much accusations have come against Disney, all right? Not just the accusations with evidence, but the ones of, like I said, the people that have been brought up on charges of child trafficking. I mean, a lot of this stuff, you could sit there for hours and read up about, you know, the stuff that goes on within Disney World. It's insane. But yeah, so bottom line, is there a tunnel system? They admit there is. They admit that there is. But what they're not telling you is there's a city beneath Disney World that's way more frightening, from what I've heard from people that have actually worked there. It's way more frightening than what people understand. There's rituals being done underneath Disney World. There's all types of stuff going on that people have no clue about. So that asks the question, what do you guys think? What do you think the connection is with Disney and a lot that's going on? Do you believe they hold this power? Do you believe that there's something more deep under the surface that's evil? What do you guys think about it? I know what I think. I know my mind's made up about, I can see the evil all around me. And that's what's wild, is once you have eyes to see, like the Bible says, eyes to see and ears to hear, okay? You see everything for what it is. When you finally wake up and you stop lying to yourself. I used to see so much crazy stuff that I used to lie to myself for so long, like, nah, this ain't real, man. It's just, this is too crazy. But now we're seeing the crazy has become reality. Conspiracy theory has become conspiracy fact. The people that run your world are evil pedos, period. Okay? None of those people are good. You can't get to that level without being in that club. That's why I'm just glad that now, like they'd said, the people getting the truth out there, it's not even coming from the pulpits anymore. It's coming from podcasts. It's coming from the solo people out there that are not controlled by big industry, that are out here speaking the truth. We're the ones that are out here fighting the battle on the front lines. And trust me, our stuff's being shadow banned, videos are being removed. It's only a matter of time before they remove me off TikTok again. So I already know that. But like I said, I'm going to show people how determined I am. Remove channels, I'm just going to put them back up. I don't care. I'm not stopping. and nothing's going to stop me from getting the truth out there. But I'm telling you, Disney in general, okay, is a very evil, dark entity to look into when you really look down to all the symbolism and everything behind it. It's very dark, okay? Go look into how even Walt Disney came up with Mickey Mouse, all right? Go really do the digging on how that really came about and how he designed him and what had happened. They give you the BS story, but you have to look a little deeper. I'll give you guys something to look into. But yeah, people have no clue what really goes on underneath Disney World and behind the scenes with Disney in general.